So you've been working on overcoming your insomnia and you've just had a really poor night of sleep. Well, how you choose to respond to this is absolutely crucial to how effective your treatment in the long run is. And if you can respond in the right way, it's going to help you be free of your insomnia. If you continuously respond in a way that isn't helpful to you, it's going to help prolong and keep your insomnia going. So really, really crucial. So let me outline a couple of ways you can respond. It's a bad way that's going to perpetuate your insomnia, and a far more helpful way, which I'm going to share with you at the end. So you've had a poor night of sleep, and rather than getting up at the same time to keep your body clock anchored, your sleep drive anchored, maybe you push that alarm for 1 or 2 hours because it's the weekend. You don't really sleep because you're so anxious and annoyed about this poor night of sleep that you're half awake, half asleep, snoozing the alarm. And then eventually you give up. Sit up in bed, and you spend the next half an hour to an hour sat up in bed, overanalyzing, obsessing, and thinking about cause of this poor night of sleep. So was it because you watched TV too late before bed? Good sleepers watch TV before bed, but you're not a good sleeper anymore, so you can't possibly do that. Was it the fact that you drank coffee at 3:22 p.m. and 30 seconds with your friend? I mean, you used to be able to do that, but not anymore. So was it that caffeine still in your system? Was it because you didn't do those 1001 ritualistic obsessive behaviors, which sometimes help you sleep? Was it because the hot bath was at the wrong temperature? Maybe you ran out of lavender, a bubble bath. And so you spend that time thinking that you've done something wrong, getting cross with yourself, getting angry with yourself, blaming yourself that you have caused this poor night of sleep. Forget about the fact that there's 1,001 variables that affect everybody's sleep. Forget about the fact that good sleepers sleep well only 80% of the time. You've done something wrong. Imagine you've got a monster sat at the end of your bed. It started when you woke up after a poor night of sleep, the size of a little gerbil. You've just sat there, feeding it with all that negativity, all that obsession, all that anger, all that self-criticism, all that blame. And now that monster is the size of a Jack Russell. And we all know what Jack Russells are like. A bit bitey, a bit kind of feisty. You know, it's not massive yet, but you've been feeding it for an hour. You then go downstairs and you watch some terrible TV, some morning breakfast TV with the curtains drawn. So you haven't done what you planned to do and had that gentle walk in the morning. You've hunkered down, powered down, watched some TV. Now you've been feeding that monster even a bit more. Jack Russell, now it's the size of a bit of a bitey, kind of ferocious, give me something bigger than a Jack Russell. Ooh, pig. A pig side, but like a medium pig, not like a big fat chunky pig. Right, medium pig size. I haven't really planned this video. Could have come up with something better, but pig. Now we've got a big kind of snarly pig that is following you around, snorting and snuffling, following around all day. You could be having something nice for lunch, but you can't be bothered because you slept poorly. So pot noodle it is, curtain still drawn. Now you've eaten poorly. So now it's the size of a big, ferocious wolf. Only lunchtime is already wolf size. You decide to cancel your plan with your friend where you're going to go meet up for coffee. You go, oh, well, I can't meet up with coffee with my friend because I'm too fatigued, too tired. I can't possibly do that. Now that wolf-sized is now the size of a big grizzly bear. You did have nice plans out to go on a meal out with your partner, your husband, your wife, friends, whatever. Cancel those plans because you cannot possibly do that anymore. Now it's the size of a massive, bigger than a grizzly bear, but it's also ferocious shark. All right, land shark. Massive land shark, huge big land shark now, huge horrible monster, size of a land shark, very, very ferocious, because you spend the whole day after a poor night of sleep, insomnia right up in front of your face, not doing anything that you enjoy, not doing the things you had planned, hunkering down in front of the TV, not eating well, cancelling the plans in the evening. So I had an absolutely appalling day, and you've got this massive monster the size of a shark, and then you think, aha, I know what to do. I got my special meditation trip that I learned. I've got this special muscle relaxation. And then I go down and lie in a dark room when I'm not sleepy, where there's no stimulation, where it's dark, After spending the whole day obsessing, worrying, thinking, blame, criticism, angry with myself, not doing anything I enjoy, I'm hoping that 1 hour of meditation will cause this massive monster to just go away and leave me alone. But of course it doesn't. This huge, ferocious, massive monster follows you into the bedroom, and then you spend the whole night fighting with it, kicking it, pleading with it. And you sleep poorly for another night, having proven to your brain. You said when you were sleeping poorly, if I don't sleep well tonight, I'm going to have an absolutely dreadful day tomorrow. You followed through and you reinforced the fear around insomnia. So that's a poor way of responding to it. I'm sure you've done it this way. I did when I had my insomnia as well. For 20 years, no criticism here. It's a very natural way of responding. So that's the unhelpful way. So what is a far more helpful way of doing things? Well, you wake up after a poor night of sleep and you're not happy about it. Of course you're not happy about it. You've been doing so well. You've been doing the right behavior changes. And for whatever reason, it's come along and just kicked you and just given you a poor night of sleep. But you go, you know what? Okay, it would have been nice if I'd have slept well. Of course I wanted that to happen. But I'm not going to overanalyze and obsess and think that I'm the cause of it. I know there's 1,001 variables that can affect my sleep. Maybe I was a little bit more anxious last night. Maybe this, but it's just not helpful to me to even think about that. And all right, I've had a half an hour lie-in because I've been a bit sluggish this morning. I'm still going to get up. I'm still going to open those curtains and I plan to go for a run. I feel a bit kind of low energy. So I'm just going to go for a walk instead, because I could sit on my sofa and watch some cartoons and eat some nonsense breakfast cereal, sugar puffs, whatever. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go for a walk instead. And that cup of coffee that I had planned with my friend, I'm still going to do that. And I'm not going to sit there just telling her how badly I slept the night, because she's going to think, oh, God, not this again. I don't want to be anywhere near you. So I'm just going to go there and talk about the things she wants to talk about. Try and have as good a day as I can with her. Again, I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to be as energized if I'd have slept well. But I'm going to have, a reasonably good coffee date with my friend anyway. I'm not going to cancel that meal I had to have planned with my family either. And I'm generally going to do the day more or less as I had planned. Am I as jolly and bouncy and happy had I have slept so well? No. But is it a better alternative than feeding the monster the whole day? Absolutely. So that monster that started as the size of a gerbil, you'll probably find, rather than being the size of an elephant one, you've been feeding it and obsessing about it all day, it's still pretty gerbil sized by the end of the day. If you've not fed it at all, you've not obsessed about your sleep, you've not obsessed about insomnia, you've not Andrew Huberman Googled, you've basically stepped back from having that poor night of sleep. There may have been a few occasions where you'd even forgotten about the fact that you'd slept poorly, and you go to bed that night not bringing this huge monster into the bedroom with you. You go to bed that night feeling pretty all right. Not amazing, but okay. And so this is how you respond to poor night of sleep. Because insomnia, it's all about control. You're desperate to get control over your sleep, which is why you're always grabbing onto these short-term fixes and hacks. Supplement, warm baths, kiwi fruit, control. I want to force and control something I have absolutely no control over. What you can do instead is choose what you do have control over. You've got control over the day. You've got control over how you respond to a poor night of sleep. You've got control over the time you wake up in the morning. You've got control over whether or not you get light. I say this all the time. Insomnia is not overcome in bed at night time. It's not overcome an hour before bedtime. It's overcome the second you wake up. If you can step back from it during the daytime and not feed the monster, you will find that gradually, slowly, the anxiety, the obsession, the fear, the worry starts to fade too. Sleepsea.com if you want a step-by-step program, but it's got loads of exposure therapy in there, tells you exactly what to do during the daytime. Really hope this video is helpful. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.